Well, hello everyone. My name is Robin Kitchen. I am the manager for learning and growth at Sherbrooke and Central Haven. And so that means my role is education, and I am an eating educator. So I'm really excited to be able to share these learning modules with you. And in today's module, we are going to go over an introduction to the Eden Alternative Philosophy. So what is the Eden Alternative Philosophy? The Eden Alternative Philosophy is a model for long-term care that seeks to abandon the institution or medical model that has traditionally been the focus in long-term care homes. The Eden Alternative seeks to abandon that and in its place create a healthy community where people can grow and thrive and experience well-being in their lives. Well-being is that contented state of being that we all strive for in life, and that is what we want for elders who live here. So where did this philosophy come from? The Eden Alternative Philosophy was founded by this man, Dr. Bill Thomas, and this was back in the early 90s. Dr. Thomas was working as a newly graduated Harvard medical grad. He had just finished med school at Harvard, and he had taken on a part-time role of working as an emergency room physician in his home community of Rochester, New York. And around that same time, he was approached by the administration of this hospital, and he was asked if he would also take on an additional role of being the medical director for a long-term care home that they also operated. And when Dr. Thomas was given this additional job offer, he wasn't sure he was the right person for the job. And the reason he wasn't sure about that was twofold. First of all, he had no gerontology specific experience. Other than the basic that you got in med school, he really didn't have any experience. And up until that point in his life, he later went on to become a geriatrician, but at that time, he didn't have any. The other reason he wasn't sure he was the right person for this job was because he had never in his whole life stepped foot in a nursing home. So he never knew anyone who'd ever lived in one, and he made it all through med school and had never stepped foot in one. So he really knew nothing about them. But one of the other things that he knew to be true at that time was that they were really quite desperate for somebody to take on this role. And so he thought he would accept the position, and if he didn't like it, he would quit. So he started his work at this care home, and part of his role as the medical director there was that he became the physician for the elders who lived there. So he became their doctor. And he said as he started his work there, he thought he was doing a pretty good job of treating the elders who lived there for their medical illnesses and their ailments. But he said every time he walked through the doors of the place, there was this uneasy feeling about it. And it was a really uncomfortable feeling that followed him everywhere in the home. And again, he couldn't figure out what was causing it until one day he had what he calls his aha moment. You know that moment when the light bulb comes on and everything is clear around you? That moment for him was this. He had been called in to see an elder who lived there, a lady. She had a rash on her arm, and so he had been called in to look at this rash on her arm. He was sitting in her room with her, looking at this rash on her arm, and he was thinking to himself what he was going to prescribe to clear this rash up. And as he got up to leave, he turned to her and he said, "Don't worry about that rash, it'll be gone in no time." And as he turned to leave, she reached out and she grabbed his arm. And so he stopped and he looked at her and she said, "But I'm so lonely." And he said that was the changing moment for him. That was when he started to look at everything that was happening in that care home with different eyes. And what he realized was that the bulk of suffering amongst the people who lived there, it wasn't caused by their medical illnesses or their ailments. It wasn't caused by the rash on their arm, but that the bulk of suffering was actually caused by feelings of loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. And then he said the worst part for him as a physician, when he had that realization, was that when he opened his medical bag, there was nothing in there for loneliness, helplessness, and boredom. And he knew that this was so much bigger than anything he could fix as these people's physician. He knew this was a systems issue. He also knew that he couldn't unsee what he had seen. He couldn't continue to work knowing what he now knew. He always describes how he was compelled to change. And so he applied for a number of research grants. He did research in long-term care homes across the US. And what was born from that research was the Eden alternative philosophy. And again, the Eden alternative philosophy, it seeks to abandon the institutional or medical model that has traditionally been the focus of long-term care. It seeks to abandon that and in its place create a home, a healthy community with all the elements in any healthy community where you might live, where you're surrounded by people with whom you have meaningful relationships, you have control over your own life as much as possible, you have opportunities to grow, experience variety and spontaneity in your life, and the opportunity to be around children and pets and to find things that are meaningful to you. And that is what the Eden alternative philosophy seeks to do. The Eden alternative philosophy is a philosophy. It's not a program. And this is a really important aspect of it. If the Eden alternative was a program, typically with a program, it would be something that you have a set of steps that you implement in a certain order, and then at some point or another, you're done. And you check it off your list and move on to the next program. But the Eden alternative philosophy is not a program. It is not like that. It is a never-ending journey of growth and change. And we've been on the Eden journey for a long time at Sherbrooke and Central Haven. Sherbrooke adopted the Eden alternative philosophy back in 1998, and then Central Haven joined the Sherbrooke family in the early 2000s. And so we have both been on this journey for many years, and we've made amazing progress, but we still have lots of work to do. It is never ending. We are always striving to be better than we were the day before. The Eden alternative gives any community who embarks on this never-ending journey of growth 10 guiding principles that help us to stay on the right path. These principles are not steps. They're not done in a certain order. They're actually a set of beliefs that help guide us. The belief is that long-term care can be different, and that's actually the original motto of the Eden alternative philosophy. It can be different. And the why behind it all is that we want elders who live here to be able to experience well-being in their lives. And again, well-being is that contented state of being that we all strive for in life. And the Eden alternative helps us to enhance well-being for people by focusing on the needs of the human spirit as well as the needs of the human body. Dr. Thomas, he describes well-being as the path to a life worth living. The most valuable of all human possessions is to be able to experience well-being. And so the Eden alternative has been our guiding philosophy for so many years at Sherbrooke and Central Haven. And through these learning modules, we're going to be able to take you on a journey to learn more and have a deeper understanding of the philosophy that guides us every day here.